let's get into today's headlines together. As usual, we're going to begin, we're just running through all of the headlines and then we start taking them one at a time. I'm not in the studio alone, so, I'm just going to introduce the fantastic people in the studio with me. But in the meantime, let's just run through all of the headlines on the various newspaper platforms. Now, for Punch newspaper this morning, let's begin with Punch. And the headline reads, Lukarawa, FG plans more troops as sect spreads in North. Lukarawa, FG plans more troops as sect spreads in North. That's on Punch newspaper. Now, moving forward to leadership, 16 days of activism. World leaders worry over Nigeria's GBV rate. 16 days of activism, world leaders worry over Nigeria's GBV rate, and that's on leadership newspaper this morning. Now, moving forward to Punch, EFCC places Obaseki on watch list, begins contracts probe. EFCC places Obaseki on watch list, begins contracts probe, and that's in Punch this morning. Now, in politics, Nigeria, a Nigerian governor goes on leave. Hands over power to deputy. Nigerian governor goes on leave, hands over power to deputy, and that's in politics, Nigeria. Now, moving forward to Vanguard, no request was brought to NAS for presidential jet purchase, and that's from Senator Abaribe on that one. No request was brought to NAS for presidential jet purchase. That's on Vanguard newspaper, and this one is coming from Senator Abaribe. Moving forward, still on Vanguard newspaper, this morning, and the headline reads, sit at home persists despite Simon Ekpa's arrest. Sit at home persists despite Simon Ekpa's arrest, and that's on Vanguard newspaper. And on leadership, women protest over 262 husbands, children in prison, and that's on leadership. Women protest over 262 husbands, children in prison. That's on leadership newspaper. Now on The Guardian, ASU links death of 3 lecturers to alleged neglect by Taraba government. ASU links the death of 3 lecturers to alleged neglect by Taraba government. That's on The Guardian newspaper this morning. And in Punch, Labour protests NBS drop in unemployment rate report. Labour protests NBS drop in unemployment rate report, and that's in Punch newspaper this morning. Now, moving forward to Punch still, the National Assembly questions Tinubu loan request as customs, FIRS surpass revenue targets. National Assembly questions Tinubu loan request as customs, FIRS surpass revenue targets, and that's on Punch newspaper. Moving forward to Vanguard, 2027, opposition parties mail a granite alliance against Tinubu. Opposition parties mail a granite alliance against Tinubu, and that's in Vanguard newspaper. And that's all of it on our headlines for today. And when we come back, we're going to start taking all of them one at a time. And please do not forget that you can get across to us either on WhatsApp or via call. If you want to reach out to us on WhatsApp, the WhatsApp number is 0901 615 0614. 0901 615 0614. And in case you want to call us, 0808 704 1217. We're also on Facebook and on YouTube at Bright FM Abuja. Are we ready? Can come, right? This is your mic. It's up already. All right, welcome back. Good morning, child.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Good morning, Kirby.
Good morning.
Good to hear from you. Thank you so much for being here this morning. Now, let's just begin with, what story do we begin with this morning? I think that we're going to have, fantastic time, talking. We're going to begin with this story on the Punch newspaper, and it's on, insecurity matters. Lukarawa, FG plans more troops as sect spreads in North. Now, let's look at the story properly. The federal government has vowed to crush the Lukarawa sect, a terrorist group that has been wreaking havoc in Sokoto, Kebbi, Niger, and Kaduna states. The Minister of Defense, Mohammad Abubakar, assured citizens that the armed forces are ready to tackle the group. The military has already deployed troops to the affected areas and has recorded some successes. The Sokoto state government has also taken steps to address the security challenge posed by the Lakurawa sect. Now, the government has established a security community under the leadership of the deputy governor, which comprises security agencies, traditional and religious leaders, and other stakeholders. The government has also set up programs to empower youths and discourage their involvement in crime and violence. The Niger State Commissioner for Homeland Security, Mohamed Bello, revealed that the affected states are working together with the federal government to eliminate the terrorist cell. He expressed optimism that the problem will soon be a thing of the past. The Kebbi State government supporting troops drafted to the area with logistics, including vehicle, to aid their mobility. Community leaders in the affected areas have appealed to the government not to draw the security agents, especially the troops deployed to the area. They expressed gratitude for the improved security situation, but warned that withdrawing the troops could lead to the return of the Lakurawa sect. They also called for more intelligence gathering and development of more security operatives to the area. Now, good morning once again, Kebbi and Charles.
Good morning.
Now, we're starting this morning's conversation with insecurity. And, when the Lakurawa group came up, I think they started first with Sokoto State.
Yeah.
And, when they started, part of things that we talked about is our fear of them, spreading, and, before we could even say Jack, we saw that they had entered into Kebbi, we saw that they had entered into Niger, and now we're hearing Kaduna State. As of last 2 weeks, Kaduna State was not part of the state, where they were operating. But now we're hearing that they are now also they've spread their wings and they've infiltrated into Kaduna State. But I think that from the conversation or from the story that we just read, there's good news, and the good news is that the Minister of Defense has assured that the armed forces are ready to tackle the group. They are ready to tackle the group, and that they've put measures in place, right, to make sure that they tackle this, and also they've put up programs to empower youths. That part of the things that this Lakurawa group, what they do when they want to recruit is that they give you money and then or car or something. So another thing that the government has also done is to set up programs to empower youths and also discourage their involvement in crime and violence. So far so good. Would you say that we're making headway with fighting this new terrorist sect that just started their activities in different parts of the states, Kebbi?
Now, from the look of things, you see that there's a progress, because if you notice, there have been a lot of talk going on with this issue right from day one. But the progress, it's actually a good one, but it's coming late a little bit, because it's spreading. It's really spreading, because they started with Sokoto. And I remember, I will not forget this story. And they say he's daring the president. And up to now, I was expecting something. But up to now, I'm not seeing that threat coming into reality, The last time the Senate said the armed forces should be serious, they should carry out, and I'm sure this is what they are doing. And it's good one that they are being at those states, helping to protect the people, because let's not lie, insecurity in the states is terrible.
Let's talk about the government setting up programs to empower the youths and also discourage their involvement in crime, Charles. Because we understand that part of the reasons why a lot of youths in Nigeria involve themselves in criminal activities, is because of some people would say, lack of job. We don't have jobs, we don't have something doing. So when we see something that is going to give us money, you just jump on it. So, but now that the government in this particular state, are setting up programs to empower youths, to discourage them or discourage their involvement in crime, do you think that this is also going to help salvage issue ground?
This is more of a security problem than it is even of employment or employability. before we even start saying, before someone will be able to go out and work, they have to be safe. Before they even come out and learn these skills that you're teaching them, they have to be safe. So this is, as much as it's a laudable effort from the government, it's much appreciated, but there should be much more of concern on security than it is on the. I'm not saying they shouldn't. They should. It's very much appreciated, but it should be doubled with the even further pressure should be put on the security agencies to make sure that these regions are safe for the folks that they are trying to train to have these employable skills that they are trying to teach them. So before we even start saying, hey, youths, yes, before you can go and join these organizations or these terrorist groups, come and learn a skill or two. They have to be safe, first of all, before they even come out to learn or even use the skills that you're going to teach them.
I think that part of the reasons why I'm excited about this new development, one of the things that they recorded or that they said in this story is that the military has recorded some successes. I think that, Kepi, stop looking at me like that. I think that it's when they do something they've recorded a success in a particular area, we should applaud them, so that the praise, the encouragement to want to do more, right? So I think it also gives hope, since there's been military presence in these areas, and we're looking at the fact that they've recorded some successes that even the community leaders are attesting to, and also pleading with the government not to withdraw them. I think that is something that is laudable. And what do you guys think? I mean,
Yeah, it's a good one. It's just that I came late. These people have actually been crying, asking for help.
No, better late than never.
It's better not even late, because I believe that, I think, or I should hope, I've not worked in intelligence, so I really think that before any organizations like this make a move, they should be aware of their movement. And this is like 3 to 4 weeks since they moved in Sokoto. It's been 3 weeks since, at least I can remember reading the news about them moving into Sokoto about 3 weeks ago. And this is when we're applauding efforts. Yes, like you said, better late than never, but it's better that we didn't even hear about them first. We should hear that was an evil head wearing his ugly head, and then
but the military cut it off
before it even made any move, rather than we let them operate for a while.
And
they are spreading. Because if we had mitigated this problem when it was in Sokoto, it wouldn't have been spreading to other states. Exactly.
And the rest.
So as much as, yes, we would applaud them for the efforts that they're making to mitigate these challenges, this is one of those things where I feel like there should be so much concentration on the hotspots of where these things are happening, moving troops in those areas, and they would disband from those places if they know. This is not a we're negotiating with them kind of conversation. We're not negotiating with the leaders. We're driving them away. So move the troops in there. Those areas that that they're operating, I don't know. Again, maybe I'm not too vast on how our intelligence is, or like the military operation works. Do they need like 4 people to approve before they move soldiers in? Is that why it took 3 weeks for them to get in there?
No, they were already soldiers. I think from the beginning, what they started with was intelligence gathering. Which also leads me to the next question I wanted to ask, or the next thing I wanted to say. So in the fight against terrorism or insecurity, intelligence gathering plays a very crucial role. And you know how it is that this security personnel, this military personnel, are moved from other parts of the country to the states where these people are operating. So it's safe to say that they might not really know the terrain very well. So, and that's where the community people, that's where they come in, for stuffs like this, or for challenges like this. I feel like all hands have to be on deck, right? So when you see something, you say something. When you hear something, you say something. And the military also needs to work with the community security people. That's like the vigilante groups or,
If
or,
they
or
have
members,
that.
if they have that, right? Because for a person who is already in a community, when there's a new face, it's very easy for you to detect it. When there's a new movement, something that is unusual in the community, it's very easy for you to detect. Somebody who is a stranger will not know the community as much as you know the community. And whether you like it or not, your leaders are the community leaders are too busy to even be paying attention to all of those things. The people who have ears on ground are the community people. So for these states, the different communities, I think the members of the communities, they need to maybe have a town hall meeting or something, and work hand in hand with because we're our own security first though.
Of course.
Do you understand the point I'm trying to make? When something is happening in a community, you're your own security first before the external security comes in. So it makes that they have to work hand in hand. While the state governments, they are also making provisions for maybe logistics to aid mobility and several other things. The community members should also make provision for information. Did you see anything? Did you hear anything? Are you asking your children questions? Did you see anybody today? This farm, are you seeing? So that you're gathering information enough to give to the security personnel so that they can also, act on it. Kevin.
When I say they actually took time in handling this case, remember the first time that's Nigerian Armed Forces going to fight in Lake Chad and they won. Now, you are going to another place and you are fighting and you're winning. That's to tell you that in Nigeria, this is actually they're using it for business. Because why would you take it long to tackle your own issue? But they started this fight, I think November 23rd, and they came out, they won. Because from the whole story and everything, they came out and said, oh, I've defeated them and we'll continue to fight for these people. And there are people in the community and the rest. And our own is taking this long to tackle that. They came out to say they were threatening the president. The Senate came out to even tell the army people that you are wasting time. Like, they are the ones providing the equipment to go and fight. So when I say these people are actually wasting time to fight, to tackle this issue, they are wasting time, because this is something they would have handled long time ago and not sit this long or go on serious meetings and this and that, because these people actually came to Abuja to protest when this thing started. And I remember the security blocked them from even going in. So there's a lot. Looking at this whole issue, this Lukara issue, there's a lot.
So that I think it's on this show that I've said it time and time again, that if we're going to fight insecurity squarely, because when we're talking about insecurity, Lakarawa is just one piece of the puzzle, right?
Yeah.
Before they came, there was already bandits, there was already Boko Haram, just name them, right? Before they came. So look, Lakarawa is just one piece of the puzzle. So if we're going to fight insecurity holistically, a lot of people have advised that the government declares state of emergency on insecurity, and so that would give that would make the security personnel know that this is a call to fight this thing and fight it squarely, and everything that they need is provided. They're focusing on insecurity, and by doing that, I think it's going to give them an edge to win. So going out to other countries also to fight, this is not the first time our gallant troops are going to help other countries to win a war against insecurity. So what it's also saying is that we're capable of fighting the insecurity in our country. The question now is, what is delaying the process?
That's what I was asking the question. How much deliberation do they have to do after gathering intelligence? Do they have how many people are signing off on how many troops are going to these regions? Because as we're not at the time that the military was moving in on them was sufficient enough, or it they took their sweet time before getting in there. Now, my question here is, before we even start thinking of how big terrorism is, or the state of emergency and insecurity in this country is, we should also realize the fact that the further we delay on this, before we take our time to even declare a state of emergency on insecurity, we would be getting to the point where we have issues with food security as well. We're already there. It's not even, because we'll get to a point where we don't even have enough to feed the nation, not even to talk of export. And it's a problem. It's already a very big problem. So before it gets out of hand completely, because things already fall apart. Before it gets out of hand completely, we should get to the point where we should make very, very concise and swift decisions concerning the security issues.
I think I agree with you, because I mean it was just one state before, and then Kebbi joined and Niger joined. Now Kaduna has joined. The question is
how far away from Moif to Abuja?
Exactly. So that's like the question to ask. But again, we're grateful that the military has already started recording some successes, in fighting this war, because it is a war, against insecurity, and we're just hopeful that in the months to come, just like the Niger State Commissioner of Homeland Security said, we're going to, he expressed optimism that this problem will soon be a thing of the past. So I think it's also okay to be optimistic, with him. Let's move forward to the next story. But before that, let me just roll out the phone lines one more time in case you want to join us in the conversation or just contribute to the conversation. The call line is 0808 704 1217, 0808 704 1217, and to reach out to us on WhatsApp 0901 615 0614. Let's take this one. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Can you hear me? Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling us from? Vincent from Kuje. Please go ahead. I can hear you now. Go ahead. They will vote the same set of people. I understand. Vincent, if you jackpot, wait, make I ask you something. If you jackpot now, which person won't build the Nigeria of your dream? Who will come build the Nigeria of your dream? Mm. Mm. Thank you so much, Vincent. I hear the frustration in your voice. You go say this is Nigeria. If I just they talk about this Nigeria, they tire. But the thing is that who is that going to fix the Nigeria if we're all complaining and we're all jackpot? Imagine Kembi jackpot, Mr. Sele jackpot, Mr. Charles, everybody. What are we going to now do? Who's going to build the Nigeria of our dream, right? But again, on the matter of insecurity, just like we've always said, declaring state of emergency is really going to, help in the fight, against insecurity. By the way, Mr. Sele has joined us in the studio. Mr. Sele, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Mr. Charles Brown, this will be your first time here since I came, right?
Yeah.
Give us drink.
Don't put me on.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Now let's move over to the next story on leadership. 16 days of activism. World leaders worry over Nigeria's GBV rate. Let's look into the main story. As the 16-day activism against gender-based violence commences, world leaders are worried about the rising scourge in Nigeria. Now, according to UN Women and the World Bank, Nigeria needs about 1 trillion naira to tackle gender-based violence, which is estimated to be about 1.5% of the country's annual gross domestic product. Now, this staggering figure highlights the economic implications of gender-based violence, which goes beyond physical abuse and affects national development. Now, the prevalence of gender-based violence in Nigeria is alarming, with 42% of women financially excluded and holding less than 5% of elected positions. The latest report by UN Women and the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes reveals that one woman or girl is killed every 10 minutes by their intimate partner or a family member. Now, in 2023 alone, 85,000 women and girls were intentionally killed globally, with Africa recording the highest rates of intimate partner and family-related femicide. Nigerian leaders have joined the global call to action, with Vice President Chikezie reaffirming the federal government's dedication to advancing gender equity. Speaker of the House of Representatives Abbas Tajuddin has declared that the National Assembly will do everything possible to ensure that all forms of violence against women and girls are drastically reduced. Nigeria's First Lady Remi Tinubu has also called for urgent collective action to combat gender-based violence. Now, looking at gender-based violence, I like to say that whenever we're talking about gender-based violence, it's supposed to be for both genders, right? But we talk mostly about, the women. To get to that. Hello, good morning. Mr. Bright, good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Rice, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, so please be coming. Go ahead, Mr. Bright. Yes. Allah. No, I just said, Mr. Bright, cut me some slack. Mr. Bright, I started with saying that when we talk about gender-based violence, men they inside now. Charles, is that not what I said
You
first?
said that.
Because Extracted. It still continues now. Please round up, Mr. Bright. Please round up, Mr. Bright.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bright. Mr. Bright, when you are Jack mine, please let us know. Thank you so much, Mr. Bright, on that one. Now, let's come back to the story on ground. Mr. Charles Brown, I think I want to start with you. Now, we're looking at 5,000 women and girls intentionally killed globally, with Africa, recording the highest rates. And we're talking about intimate partner and family-related femicide. Why do you think that our rate is high?
Well, the African way is a way that if I should come in how I want it to be, the African, let me say we are still developing, right? And our mindset towards GBV is not very, really accurate. Now, this GBV is every year from November 25th to 10 December is work down to mobilize,
To sensitize.
every action that has to do with the violence of women and the girl child. Right here, if I want to say in Africa, we don't really take things like in the Europe, or should I say out there, if you should hurt your child, they have that privilege to arrest you. If you should hurt your wife, they could call the cop on you. But here in Nigeria, you see where, let me say Africa, let me use the word Africa, the notion Africa, and Nigeria as an example. If you have an issue with your husband, your wife, and you beat your wife up, the least and the highest you hear is go back and meet your husband.
They could say they know they pull out for family
They
issue.
need to pull out for family issues, for better, for worse. The rest out there is not like that. And the observation about this 16-day activity, now in Nigeria, they are saying they are looking for a way to copy. I don't really know. They think the awareness and the action that should be taken about this is empowering women.
I want to get in on that.
Go ahead.
I want to get in on that. I like Charlie Brown said, out there in the world, other countries this activism or this awareness is supposed to create not just awareness, and it's supposed to also empower, obviously, the group that it's affecting the most, which is women. As much as yes, we're going to say men too face
No, we'll
violence.
touch.
Yeah,
Mr.
we'll
Select
touch
is
all
going
of
to
that.
help us.
We're going to touch
talk
all of
about
that,
men.
but the women face
Because
this the most.
yeah.
So, but back here in Nigeria, we're having conferences, we're having discussions, we're talking. It feels very too much like psychotic conversations that we're having here. We're showing that, like what Mr. Bright said, everybody wants to be politically correct. We're trying to be politically correct and we're not doing anything about it. Was it not recently that they just outlawed, they said that using pepper spray and tasers is now illegal? You can't use that because these are ways to actually curb all this gender violence. You can't, you know that these women are physically incapable of trying to even put any damage on the men who perpetrate this crime on them. So this tasers and pepper spray is something that they could use to defend, in some way, defend themselves. And you've made that illegal. Now, we've also made illegal, I don't even know whether that it has actually become law or it's still being read right now, that being raped in marriage, like your husband raping you, is a bad thing. Like, we don't come that one now,
If it comes to the police station, it's a no case.
It's a no case that your husband raped you, no be case, but we're having conversations on 16 days of talking about the gender-based violence. And all these things are things that we are doing. I said I was not going to raise my voice today.
Calming down.
That's a passion.
Mr. Sele, please.
All these things are things that we said that we're trying to have conversations and say that this gender-based violence, you see, go to any place now, any hall that they are trying to talk about this, it will sound very, very sincere, but the laws that you're passing in this country is not supporting your case. So how are we actually being advocates for this particular cause?
You know, the bottom line here is sensitization and education. How aware is our girl child of her rights? And how active is the channel for her to push through for her rights working in Nigeria? So if a girl child knows that it is her right, as in that she can take an action and the police will work in her favor when being abused, the moment she sees a sign of it, she will take action. But we see a situation where a girl child is forced to accept what her spirit knows is not good for her, so that the society will look at you as if your own self. So you see, like I was reading a post this morning on Facebook where a lady had to come out on Facebook to lament what she has been facing through after divorcing her husband. We see them as, we stigmatize against them as if it is always about the girl being wrong. So we fail to look at what is actually behind this violence against the girl child, and it is sensitization. So our government need to do more, about creating awareness and empowering our girl child.
And most times when this conversation comes up, we somehow forget the role of culture in all of this. And culture has a very, very huge role to play. And whenever we talk about things like they don't marry and a family matter, it's rooted in culture. And whenever we're talking about gross domestic, gender-based violence, and we want to talk about it holistically, it's not about a particular gender, harming another. We're looking at house helps, even as I'm talking to you now, and a fellow woman.
Yeah.
There's one case that came up, when I was in Kaduna. Guess what? It was with candle or lighter, burning a child's private part.
Yeah.
It was a woman doing that. We've seen cases of iron.
Pepper.
Do you understand?
Come on.
All of these things, they are violence against women, against the girl child. And Mr. Bright mentioned because we need to also talk about, when we're talking about gender-based, it's not a particular gender.
Now, I was coming to that. Now, when you talk about gender, especially gender-based violence against men, this our African setting, the man is seen as one man, as in one. I don't know the right word to use, but we try to
Squad leader.
Thank you, my brother. We try to be the squad leader. We are not supposed to show pain. You cannot be emotional. You cannot be emotional. You cannot show any emotional. You can't be down. So no matter what is happening to you in your house, you have to show a bold face to be called a man. A man walks up to his friend, telling him of how his wife is maybe
some women go physical.
Yes, that's
some
what we
women
are
go
doing.
physical.
You come and talk about how your wife is going physical on you, and your colleague will be looking at you as
You be man.
You be man. You are not man enough. So the idea is for you to be man enough, you have to go physical against her. So the society is not as in supporting the man too, or discouraging the women from being, because they will hide under the atmosphere that they will be looked at the weaker vessel. And if you see what these weaker vessels are doing, you'll be shocked.
Let's take this one. Hello, good morning. Good morning, Robert. Please go ahead.
It's very common.
That's another thing. That's another thing. The man of the house.
Man of the house.
He go keep quiet.
And possibly now the girl cook the rice. That is. Yeah.
Please round up, Mr. Robert.
Oh, just take
Thank you. Just keep listening. No, Wala. Thank you so much for contributing, Robert. Now let's talk about the World Bank and the UN Women coming to say that Nigeria needs about 1 trillion naira to tackle gender-based violence. I want to get that really.
Yeah.
Is it is it for the sensitization? Is it for supporting the women who are being abused? Is it?
Yes. Now let me let me agree with you on that. Like most gender-based violence we see in Nigeria. Let me use Nigeria as an example, and Africa as a whole. The girl child is vulnerable because of poverty. Because as in you see, let me talk about, let's say all these Yahoo boys. You see a girl following a guy who is abusing her in all round because of what she's getting from him. If the girl is empowered, if she is sufficient on her own, she will be in the right position to choose who she says yes to as a husband or as a boyfriend. So empowering the girl child is also a way of fighting this gender-based violence. Empowering her also in education will go a long way, so that she knows her rights, so that the girl child is educated as the boy child. And then I know if you in the street, even to those girls growing up, toasting a girl, there are girls you look at, your mind will agree to toast. Because you know, as in this one, no. As in before you meet her, you package yourself, you respect yourself first. So it is empowering the girl child that is the way out. And I think that is what they are talking about.
So aside empowering we've talked about empowering the girl child, we've talked about sensitization. From this research, we're looking at every 10 minutes a girl or a woman being killed by a family member or an intimate partner. Now, is there a way that maybe the government comes in? And I don't know, because this is outrageous.
Where my question is coming from. This, how much trillion again? How many trillion? Is it for a while? Is it for a while? Because if we're sensitizing, if the conversation is sensitization and empowerment, how? We need structure. This is one thing I vehemently stand against in this country, is that we will say this is how much we have put out for this, and there is no clear definition of how we are going to do this. We have said empowerment. Okay, empowerment. Holistically, empowerment to be do back, we'll call conferences. We'll have gather organizations.
Conferences that most women in the rural areas don't even know about.
Exactly. And it's one or two people that will benefit from this money without, and then again they will share rice. That is the empowerment bar. But they go still, the person go to chop bath boats for their house. Again, I still say, if the laws that are trying to protect these women are not working, all this money now waste. If the laws in this country that are supposed to protect both, because obviously in this case now it's for women, the girl child, you go to police and report an abuse case, and they will tell you in a family matter that the police cannot intervene immediately there's a conversation or a report on abuse. All these things wey we dey do na audio talk. Me and you sef na talk we dey talk here.
There's another thing, this mind your business culture that we've started now. Mr. Charles Brown, and you're seeing how that in an environment, let's say in a community or in a flat, you're saying that your neighbor cannot talk. Maybe the husband is beating her to the point of death or something, right?
Beating her to a pulp.
Do you understand? I mean, is there no? There used to be a time when they say a community they got a soft problem or something, you know. But I mean, at this point, don't be like say everybody they mind their business.
Lately, people tend to mind their business because of the situation of the country. It still boils down to how the livelihood of an individual is, and we are talking about gender-based violence. It doesn't necessarily stipulate that it's only women.
Yeah.
The girl
Both
child.
gender, yes.
It's just a round table discussion. And they are talking about empowerment. Empowerment is a key factor. But how about we talk about prevention? That is a key factor. How about we talk about prevention?
Why should somebody rape me and then I have access to therapy? The rape shouldn't even happen at all. Why should somebody beat me? No, I'm black. And now we're looking.
Look, remember what I said. If you empower a girl child, you prevent her from being harassed. I talked about you as a guy, even approaching some girls. When there is a way a girl is, as in you look at her background, where she's coming from, you comport yourself before you approach her. So empowering a child will put her at a position where she won't be subject to such violence.
Mr. Sele, we have seen learned women in this country being abused.
Sunshine, most of this issue depends on your upbringing. If you have a violent home,
that's another thing.
That is another key factor. You were growing up, you saw your mom, your dad, they're always arguing, they're always fighting. Definitely that will ring in your head. And when you grow up, when a lady talks to you anyhow, what do? That's
just give her.
Now.
And some ladies think that that's a form of correction too.
No. And now in Africa and Nigeria, the mentality is very sickening. To the extent that most parents, when they are bringing up their child, for example, a male child, they make that male child believe that he's the man of the house. He doesn't need to do anything.
Don't take anything from your woman.
Whereas key surviving methods are there for everybody.
So you see that family has a role to play.
A bigger role, actually.
A very big role.
Now, a male child should know how to wash. He should know how to cook.
How to cook, yes.
He should know how to clean. It is not meant for ladies alone. That's what I keep saying. If you're bringing up a child, you should bring that child up in a way the child should know surviving skills. And by so doing, if you know all these things, most problem is, okay, they don't know how to talk to a lady. Yeah. You don't know how to talk to someone.
What is that?
Now, ask me. It's all about the family upbringing. We're talking about prevention. Okay, for example, you've seen something, you mention something about it before. You've seen something, say something. Yeah. Somebody has been molested, somebody has been raped.
In your area.
In your area, you've seen it.
You know people say that are molesting these people and you're not just doing anything about it.
Let me bring this, because that plays a big role. We see, for instance, if I come out as a girl child and I report that I was raped, the way society will look at it,
there's a stereotype that comes
with it. If I come out as a girl child, my husband has been maltreating me, I just fight for a divorce, I will be looked as an outcast.
They'll say stay and
so
fix
this
your home.
Stigmatization is what it is. It has to be the society being cleansed, because we look at things instead of protecting the child, we are trying to make her, you have to endure. So that stigma is what we have to work on.
If you're brought up in a good way, most of these things will not occur.
Yeah, you see this conversation of whenever they bring up women come into conversation, they be like, this woman is a strong woman. You know, see that woman don't endure.
Definitely. She don't
Just let's take this call. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Hello, good morning.
Mr. Abdallah, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You see, you have already enunciated so much on the issue of the security. And we have recorded that state of emergency be announced
They declared.
this issue of insecurity in the country. because permeates not every part of the country. So nowhere that is safe for now, but it is our common prayers that God Almighty, in His infinite mercy, will bring succor to us through annihilation of insecurity in our land,
Amen.
in all applications. Now, for gender-based violence, you see, this is also a pervasive phenomenon because it affected every part of this country. Most of these stories are untold to the public. See, ranging from rapes, minors, and even majors alike. Apart from that, there are some traditions and cultures that are, in fact, can I say, encouraging this kind of inhumanity. We understand that among our tribes and, in fact, tradition, there are some places that if a person dies, if a husband dies before a woman, a wife, the tradition will even force her to even take the water that was used to wash the cross. Now, this is part of the violence we are talking about. And the women, too, are not, in fact, exonerated from this blame. Because some of them that are some of are energetic, they tend to engage their husband in internet quarrel and fight. Because they believe that the husband cannot be able to rest. See, I am aware about 3 or 2 years ago, a woman, a married woman to a husband, she sent the husband packing from the house because of incident, dispute, and what I do. This is part of what we are talking about, gender-based violence. It's not only related to woman and man alone. It is affecting every part of gender, whether men or women.
Our children.
But it's more on women,
Yeah.
and especially the minors. So the money that is sent
1 trillion.
if it is actually compared, there are issues of prosecution by lawyers and what have you. And there are people and what have you with the police and what have you. Then you will have the division, the alpha and the omega of the land. So sometimes they are not serious about the matter because they continue to adjust the matter.
Please round up, Mr. Abdallah.
Yes, until those who are trying to pursue the case come die and then comes on the case. So, and even our tradition too, the parents, sometimes they will say they don't want to involve themselves into cases in the court or police station.
God go handle them. God will help us. Let's leave it to God. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Abdallah. Now, to end this matter, I think that I'm going to agree with the last thing that Charles Brown said about prevention or preventive measures. That's where that 1 trillion naira
Should be going to.
should be going exactly. So let's go on a quick break. When we come back, this conversation continues.
So like, does the radio start when you get into a car accident, or are you just sitting there like,
Music, please.
You're listening to 19.7.
This is where we're still at. The Samuel Ekpa, they they do the sit at home. They say na God battle sef, God battle.
Let's discuss the headlines and politics.
By the standing orders of 2011 as amended, which is the genuine and authentic because it has never
Get involved and add your opinions. In this republic, we don't turn off your mic. Join us on Bright Republic weekdays, 8 a.m. Get ready.
All right. All right, welcome back. This is still Bright Republic on Bright F 38.7. In case you're just tuning in, this is our newspaper review program. And if you want to be part of the conversation, you can join in by calling us on 0808 704 1217. 0808 704 1217. On WhatsApp, you can either text us or send us a voice note at 0901 615 0614. We're also on social media. We're on Facebook and on YouTube at Bright FM Abuja. Now, moving forward to the next story. This one is on Vanguard, and the headline reads, "Sit at home persists despite Simon Ekpa's arrest." Let's look into the main story. A fierce gun battle erupted on Monday morning between Nigerian army personnel and unidentified gunmen in Mbatao Muchima village, Isialangwa North local government area, Abia State. The clash occurred despite the arrest of Simon Ekpa, the alleged mastermind of the gunmen attacks. Now, over 15 Hilux vehicles and armored personnel carriers were deployed to the area, targeting suspected gunmen. In a separate incident, gunmen attacked Anambra State Vigilante Service operatives along the Amesioga Road in Aguata local government area, Anambra State. One vigilante member was injured and their operational vehicle was set ablaze. The police responded swiftly to the attack, rescuing the injured vigilante and securing the scene. Private and mission schools in Anambra have suspended classes on Monday until further notice due to security concerns. The Catholic Education Council issued a directive citing threats by unknown people to attack school buses and schools that open on Monday. Commercial activities were also halted in most parts of Anambra due to fear of gunmen attacks. In a related development, abducted Abia Anglican delegates who were kidnapped in Kogi State on their way to Abuja have regained their freedom and reunited with their families. Now, let's look at this story for a bit. The last time when we, read this story, that was when Simon Ekpa, was arrested in Finland, and a lot of people received it received the news with open arms, and people were excited and saying that activities are going to get back to normal in the southern parts of the country, right? But now coming back to see that despite the arrest of Simon Ekpa, sit at home persists.
If I can comment, the seed has already been sown, right? Now, this sit at home issue has lingered for too long, and I can say the government played a little role.
A major role.
Let me just use the word little. If you are to reason with me, it will interest you to also know that with regional governors, I beg your pardon, their words are matching their actions. And some criminal elements are using this sit at home to enrich themselves. I think that was...
So it has become a money-making venture.
Definitely. I think that was...
Insecurity is a business.
I read a couple of days ago, so the economy in the Southeast is suffering. They've lost over 655 million and 3.8 trillion naira over the past 24 months. And if this thing insists and it keeps on going the way it's going, the economy might collapse in the Southeast. Now, how did this thing escalate? Nnamdi Kanu, since his incarceration, Simon Ekpa came into the picture with an element of furthering the fight of creating that Biafra that Nnamdi Kanu started. Now, this is the day. Simon Ekpa has his own motive. His motives was something criminal, if I could come in that way. Now, him being arrested doesn't stop what is happening. It's more like Boko Haram. I can remember like how many Boko Haram leaders have been killed or arrested. Has it stopped? No. It keeps on going.
Now, let me come in this at this point, Charles. What is the roots of this sit at home? How did we get here?
Because that's a question to ask.
That's a question to ask. How did the fight for the release of Nnamdi Kanu, how did it escalate to this point? Now, what actually even instigated the youth there to buy into the idea of sit at home
and run with
it?
It was more like, it started like a protest.
Yes, now that's what I'm saying. So I'm trying to create a background of why people bought into it. It started like, okay, a protest to force the government to release Nnamdi Kanu.
Okay.
But it was fueled by the realities on ground. Have you thought about the infrastructure in Southeast? There is no road leading to Southeast that is worthy of to talk about. Is it from the north or is it from the southwest? If you are going from Lagos to any part of the Southeast, it is going from heaven to hell.
Once you just enter that
in fact, the moment you leave or approaching Edo, just forget it. Whatever you see on the road, you take it. Is it you are going from Abuja to Southeast? The moment you leave Lokoja, forget about it. That is very sad, and this is a region where we have the Aba of this world, one of the biggest international markets. We have the Nnewi. We have the Onitsha main market. We have all these places, all these big business hubs that need movement in and out of the region. But there is no federal road. And this did not start yesterday.
No,
it started far before, as in, it has been there. I grew up as a child in the Southeast. And I know how the road had been as a child. Now I'm a man. My own son is turning into a man, and he's meeting the same road, the same way. So you ask me, is sit at home, is their agitation justified? Yes, on the basis of the fact that Southeast has like a forgotten zone. If I would say that. But how did we get here? Becomes my question. Don't we have governors?
That's what I said. Their words are not matching.
Are these governors not seeing what is happening in their states? So if you ask me, the federal government, the state governments in the Southeast and the federal government, they played a major role in getting the youths. I know how many of them that have lost their lives. I know a lot of them are being lured into this with criminal mentalities, but a lot of them are fighting genuinely to say, no, we cannot run away from our fatherland.
Yeah, but we've gotten to the point where there's now exchange of, there's now fierce gun battle. We're looking at the lives of our children. Some people are coming out to threaten school buses. I mean, that is where we're at.
That is where we get to when government fails to do the right thing at the right time. Because I believe if the agitation, okay, a lot of activists have talked about, okay, what is actually keeping Nnamdi Kanu in detention? Even I think at the Supreme Court level, if I'm right, they have released him. They have asked the federal government to release him. If court have sentenced him to life imprisonment, fine, let it be declared. But if not, why not do the needful? And why don't governments move into action to develop this Southeast? Charles, you need to pay a visit to Southeast.
I don't want to go there.
Because I grew up in Southeast, then left as a young man. But about 2 years ago, I went to my state and I cried all my way to Enugu State. The roads looked like as if they were degrading from what I left. Not know, you know, when you leave a place for a while, you go back, you come back, you see development.
Do you know
They
why?
want
Do you know
not-
why over the years it has become from bad to worse? The sit at home has amplified insecurity.
Exactly.
And they
It has
and I have,
increased
yes,
poverty,
poverty has created poverty.
loss of lives.
This sit at home, I think that initially was supposed to just last for a period of
The
time,
period
but
of
now
strike,
it's
no,
I mean,
it was just like an ASU strike. Okay, we give you an ultimatum, do this or we go on strike. That was how it started.
For me, it started as a good phenomenon.
As a good phenomenon,
But,
releasing now
but
become-
right now, I do not buy, I do not subscribe,
at all.
I'm not keying into that.
Do you know the abuse? Do you know what the economic effect of what the Southeast have lost within these years of sit at home?
and you know the bad part, Mr. Sele, is that when we were talking about this 2 days ago, I guess we said that there was no is with the security operatives. Now Simon Ekpa is with security operatives. What is
with
how?
another
Do you
George
understand?
General.
Remember when we
Do you
first talked
understand
about
how? Yeah.
Remember when we first talked about this, when we first mentioned his arrest, and I said,
There's a high
you cut
tendency
the
of
head
another
of a
person.
hydra, and two more will grow.
Do you understand?
What's the solution here? You cut the head off.
Because
and
how are we
fertilize the
sure that
wound.
somebody else is not going to say, okay, now that this person is out of the way,
the
let me
wound
also
was
come. And you
fertilized.
know how it is that another person will come up with another agenda.
But
Exactly.
Do you know what? Do you know? Because I've heard, and I've been opportune to talk with some people who have been there. There are a lot of people who did not buy into Simon Ekpa's agenda.
Of course.
But they were genuinely saying no to what was happening to Southeast.
Of course.
And that is why it feels like Simon Ekpa had a lot of apostles. No, he didn't have a lot of people behind him. But there are people who will tell you one-on-one, as long as I live here, this sit at home must continue until this is done. And you look at their cries and they are genuine.
The solution to this problem has not actually been solved. So when they said
They've not
that-
made any attempt to solving the problem.
So when the conversation of Simon Ekpa was arrested and people expecting sit at home to stop, like how?
How?
Is Simon Ekpa in
Is he
Nigeria?
in Nigeria?
Has he been in
Has he
Nigeria?
been?
Listen, has been
The
happening.
people that are doing this sit at home, most of them don't even have access to internet.
Thank you very much. Now the funny thing
Most
about
of them
this
don't
is
have
that-
access to internet. They have their meetings physically
Of course.
and decide what they do. Simon Ekpa is making noise online. Most of them don't even get to hear him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about arresting Simon Ekpa.
This-
It's about doing what needs to be
Go
done.
down
in
to the
Southeast.
grassroots and
Go down
what
to the
is going there.
grassroots. Attend to what these guys are crying for, and let's have peace.
The thing about all this issue, it engulfs in the issue of marginalization. As a person, if your input is sidelined, definitely trust me, you are not going to be in a good face with whatever program is about.
Exactly.
Now it all started with Nnamdi Kanu projecting that Biafra should be on its own, a republic, or if I should say whatever that it should be. Now him being in incarceration, Simon Ekpa is more like a leaf in a tree.
Exactly.
That means there's tendency for another leaf.
Definitely,
Come
there are
outside.
other leaves on that tree. You like it or not, yes or no? This issue. Okay, please.
Let's take this one. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Mr. John from Otako, good morning. Yes, sir.
We are back again.
Yes.
Mr. John, I passed through the same route this morning.
I told you now, yes, now. I say even older women now.
Everybody
They-
rugged.
yes, now everybody they rugged. Hello. Hello, are you there?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Mm.
Because the president is going to come out, not just
Amnesty.
Listen to them. What is their problem? Stop the Nigerian. If the Nigerian is agitating for Biafra, then the one who will come to this is the one who will come. That we got together, outside Igbo, Yoruba, God knows what it is.
We don't bring us together.
Charles. Charles, now God.
Who will check our history? No big God bring us
Colonial
together.
masters.
Who they talk to?
But we don't date together. Do you understand?
Yes. For about yes, past the bus there, yes. Oh yeah. Yes.
Marginalization.
Of Nigeria. Exactly. You are on your own. Yes. It baffles me seriously whether these people don't pay visits to their homes. It baffles me. How can we have a minister of works from a Ebonyi state and between Kogi and Enugu is like that? I understand.
Please round up, Mr. John.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate your contribution, Mr. John.
Thank you so much.
Now, let's move forward to the next story. Politics Nigeria. Just think, Nigerian governor goes on leave, hands over power to deputy. Now, that's the Bayelsa State Governor Doye Diri has proceeded on his annual leave. The governor has handed over the reins of power to his deputy, Senator Lawrence. Now, in a message posted on his X handle, Governor Diri announced that his leave effect from today, that's November 25th, 2024, Diri was inaugurated for his second term in February this year, acknowledged that it has been a very busy year for him. However, he assured the people of Bayelsa State that his absence will not affect the governance in the state. In his words, with effect from November 25th, I'm proceeding on my annual leave. It has been a busy year for me since our inauguration for the second term in February this year. Let's do a little analysis. At what point does a governor go on leave? When things are working, how is the state of Bayelsa at this point for a sitting governor to say, Siba, this year we don't busy, make I go rest my head, let me hand over to my deputy and just take some rest?
It is mind blowing the way the Nigeria politics.
It says mind blowing.
Yeah, it's mind blowing because if you sit to think about how they function, you start wondering. Because if you believe with me, I don't think Bayelsa is doing very well. They are not.
At the time.
At the time.
At this moment, they are not doing well. Actually, the state GDP, I think, is very down, it's low. Yes. And you have the let me use the word audacity to go on leave. I've not seen that happen before. You won't go rest. We your people no deal key, they go rest. How does that work?
Charlie, you never tired. Like, have you never been in that moment when you're tired and you're tired of being tired?
Maybe probably he's going to clear his head to get new ideas. Well, probably when you rest, new idea comes into play. But I wouldn't take that as a yardstick for you to say, okay, you're going on leave, because nothing is working in this country actually.
I don't think that at this point any governor should go.
Exactly.
I don't think that any governor needs them. See, I understand that. I mean, when you work and all of that, you have to take out some time and rest. But there has to be, maybe you have to see some sort of improvement. I mean,
right? I think a couple of days ago, Davido was interviewed and he said something. He mentioned something that the economy of Nigeria is a little bit bad. It's not a little bit. It's bad. People were calling out on him. They were saying different things on the TV that he should promote. What are you promoting? What are you promoting? This is Mr. Celestin. This is the problem we keep getting in the country.
You know why I kept quiet? You people are trying to blame Governor Governor Diri.
Do you agree?
Was it not last week victory? Sokoto, Lokarawa, or whatever, and our president was with the Minister of the Defense, the Chief Security Advisor, all of them left.
But they went to solve a
problem. Okay, for another country.
Yes.
And our Lokarawas were invading Sokoto. And did you not see? Now, what is the state of Lokarawa now?
They've infiltrated into Kaduna. That's another state.
And when they started that, our own president was supposed to sit down with his security advisor, with all his team, to look at how to stop them, to nip it at the bud. They left as a whole team. The poor people that I was looking up to for security issues left. So why won't governor only buy some now?
Talking about insecurity again, it's not only in Sokoto.
No,
there are insecurity in every.
We know. Why just say that this is a new sect?
So the thing is,
what
I'm trying to say, Mr. Chaz, is if your president and his team can be traveling around,
when there's something going on at home,
why can't the governor?
I can't see rest when there's nothing working.
It's somehow, and come to think about it.
Oh my God!
Security parameters. It's way more different. If there's no security, tell me, how are you going to come to work? There is no way. You're making provision to people. Okay, you're talking about employment. You want to employ. You want to make employment to people. You employ them. There's no security. How are they going to do the work? How are they going to do the job?
You know, when Abdallah kept talking about state of emergency, I believe state of emergency is not only for our security forces. Every hand should be on deck to fight insecurity. But this is the time our governors are taking leave.
Let's take this one. Hello, good morning.
Mr. John, thank you.
Yeah.
Who no go join? Even me when they talk here.
Mr. Sele, I beg, you know to join. I'm not going to talk like that.
No, but let's be sincere. 500,000 with one cow.
No.
That was cow is.
No. I don't agree with the both of you.
Thank you, my dear.
I don't agree with you.
You could be a recruiting agent.
Chikezie, just
Let him finish.
go ahead.
Oh, Jesus.
Thank you, Mr. John. Thank you so much. Charles, you said you wanted
I wanted to
touch on
comment on what
something,
you're saying.
yeah.
So if we pretend like the offer that these people are making
It's not a
is
good
not
offer.
a good offer, then we are failed. And if we also pretend like the offer that they are making is not better than what the government is trying to offer them, saying we will teach you how much they are offering you 500k with cow, and you're teaching them how to. If you're not offering something better than what these people are offering them, you're not offering anything.
It still boils down to how our government, the people we elected, how they go about their daily business, how they go about their seeing through in that seat. You have not made modalities, you've not put modalities in place for the youth, for the aged, and you're thinking about traveling. Now, so problem they start to. This is how
I'm
problems
going
start.
to leave.
Besides that, Charles made mention about their offer. It is a sweet mouthy offer.
Which work they pay like
but
over
nonetheless,
200K at the time?
what is bad
Is
is bad.
That's where I was going
No,
to.
the thing
Because
is,
we cannot be
don't-
saying that even me. Because I know that even work.
What is bad is bad.
Yes.
I do not subscribe. I do not involve myself, and I kick against any attitude.
No
that has to
matter
do-
the amount of money involved,
that has to do with the matter that takes life,
causes people harm.
causes harm, maiming people. I do not subscribe to that. No matter how sweet and mouthy
The
the
offer
is. I like people to sit down and talk to their conscience. But come to think about it, there's no way you talk about your conscience, you don't talk about your belly.
that is it.
There are two ways involved. This thing comes in handy. It comes here, it comes there. You're thinking about starting a business. What do you think about starting the business for? What are you starting the business with? It's money. Now you're talking about, okay, not doing a bad thing, and your stomach is empty, and you've got an offer in front of you.
And you have family that
You've got
depend on you.
families. So what do you do about it? I keep on saying, those that we elect into offices, I believe they are not taking this job seriously at all. Because I believe this problem should not have escalated to this point. I think there are DSS, there are security parameters, there are security, there are security agents everywhere, and I think before issues like this arises, they've got something to say. Okay, let's go.
Let's take this one.
Let's go.
Hello, good morning. Okay, I think we lost that one. Mrs. Ella, you were going to say something.
You know, this issue of Lokarawas
and their price.
We've talked about it on this platform. Yeah, it was just on a light note that said I would join. Yeah. Who is giving them this money to fund?
You asked that question.
I asked
that question.
They are sponsors.
So it is a lot. Okay, the minors that when we talk about minors and police the other time, those minors, how did they get involved in flying flags during protest? It says a lot about
somebody behind the scene.
Our government neglecting their duties, and some people lashing on that loophole to cash in on their evil plots. A lot of people are becoming richer by the day as insecurity persists. A lot of people are becoming richer by the day.
There are people that are gaining.
So it is those people who are gaining that the government should look out for. I said it that day, that instead of arresting these kids, these minors, yes, government police can pick them up, but to find out who sent them, well, that is not in Nigeria.
Sorry,
we don't do investigation.
Yes. Let's take this one. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Can you hear me? Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Mr. Lukman from Lugbe, please go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we lost Mr. Lukman.
If you recall, at the beginning of this program, and we talked about this, I mentioned that it's taking them a little too long to actually do whatever they need to do about this situation. And you mentioned they might have also been doing investigation and all of that. I will take back my claim or what I said. If after this long period of time, we're curbing this particular menace trying to raise his head or that have already raised his head, and we're finding the sponsors that are sponsoring it, because obviously they are sponsors. You're not throwing 500k and cow to people if you are sponsors. And we are actually
that's a lot.
Booking them properly. We are sure that they air them publicly. We tell these are the people that are sponsoring these things. If we are not doing all of these things, then all this time that we wasted, rather than copying it in Sokoto that is now in other states, was a waste of time.
Let's move over to the next story. But before that, I think I would want to just end the previous story by saying that at this point, the way we are in this country, the 36 states, no governor needs leave now. The people are suffering, the people are crying. Let's begin to see significant change, and somehow your leave will be justified. Do you understand? At this point, all leaders, all governors, everybody, stakeholders, people need to put their hands on deck, understanding that there's a lot going on in Nigeria at this point, and average Nigerian is crying for let me even stay alive, let me even survive, let me even eat food, right? So if we've not been able to get to the point where the average Nigerian citizen is surviving, please, governors, before this one go inspire another governor, come to say I want to go on leave.
The funny thing
people should not be going on leave. Let's fix Nigeria.
Is on his second channel, so he's got nothing to do.
Let's take this story on Punch now. National Assembly questions Tinubu loan request as customs FIRS surpass revenue targets. I think you'll like this one. Now, this story is on Punch. The National Assembly has questioned President Bola Tinubu's request for loan approvals despite some revenue-generating agencies surpassing their 2024 budgetary revenue targets. The Federal Inland Revenue Service Chairman Zach Adedeji revealed that the government generated 1.5 trillion naira in education tax, exceeding the 70 billion naira target. Additionally, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPCL) and the Nigeria Customs Services also reported exceeding their revenue targets for 2024. Now, the revelation of these excess revenue have raised questions about the need for foreign loans. Senator Adamu, PDP Kebbi Central, asked why the government is still seeking foreign loans despite the high increase in internally generated revenues. Now, in response, Adedeji explained that borrowing is part of the Appropriation Act approved by the National Assembly. He added that meeting revenue targets does not mean that the borrowing component of the appropriation law should not be activated. I'm trying to understand what I
Wasting our time here. Take it or leave it. I know this.
we were
beautiful.
asking the question
Yes.
about the internally generated
revenues. And
We're
what
asking if Nigeria is not making
not
money.
making
Why are
money,
they always borrowing?
Now, look at, the target in the budget was 7 billion. They made 1.5
That's
trillion.
FIRS.
I'm just giving you the gap. 1.5 trillion. That is about, let's say, times 150 of what they're supposed to make.
Not adding what
Not adding
NNPCL
what
and
NNPCL
Nigeria Customs
and Nigeria
Service
Customs
made.
has made, and all of them surpassed their target. And we are having budget deficits.
And now they are asking, so why should
do
we
we have
still borrow? And the answer is that borrowing is part of the Appropriation Act approved by National Assembly. We're looking at how that we're getting into. Oh God.
So because borrowing is part of the Appropriation Act approved, you still borrow when you have in excess.
Why? That's the question I'm asking.
That tells you how
Nigeria is getting into debt crisis for crying out loud.
How unprepared, how unvisionalized this government can be.
We are talking, as you said, you already said, we are just talking.
We're just talking.
The loan has already been approved.
That is it.
So, Nigeria, we are under almost 138 trillion naira debt, right?
Hey. We're entering a debt crisis. So.
No, we are already in a debt crisis. It was announced already. The all-time high that we have ever borrowed.
Yes.
was achieved by this.
And the reason is this reason that I have a problem with you. They are telling you that what Nigeria generated internally
is far way beyond.
Just for FIRS is over 1 trillion naira.
And their target was
1.5 trillion naira, and their target was 70 billion.
Make the
now,
calculation.
we've not even talked about what NNPCL and Nigerian Customs Service, what they generated. And they're asking you, so why should you still borrow? And you're saying it's part of appropriation law.
The funny thing,
the borrowing component.
Our debts, this thing has entered 138 trillion. And they are still looking forward to still borrow in the nearest future.
The thing, even
2025 budget, we're going to borrow now.
I keep on saying it. If proper check is not put into this and proper scrutiny is not involved, continuation of borrowing will plunge Nigeria into another phase of, riot, if that's possible.
This country, I dare say, is run on debt. And the unfortunate part is that as we don't talk about, we don't vex.
We just end for our vex.
We don't end for our vex. Because people that actually have the ability to either say no or not borrowing because we're making more than we expected are not doing anything about it.
Please hold your thoughts. Hello, good morning. Good morning, Mr. John.
Yeah, Mr. John.
We're good too.
Yes. 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 Exactly. If they drop what he said over the years, Yeah.
Isn't that too much?
Is a problem for them. It's business, yes. That's just the truth.
At all.
At all. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so
You
much.
should know that is even very much impossible.
That is impossible. But
Senator Oji Uzokalo the other day was complaining about the 28 million not enough, not sufficient. And you're talking about taking 5 million out of it.
But the government cannot complain that 70,000 naira minimum wage is
but
not
come to
okay.
think of it, 28 million naira per month is not enough for one person. But a professor in the university earns 400,000 per month.
Do you understand?
You cannot pay him.
Do you
Is that
understand?
not a joke?
And there are several things that ASU is still asking for that you've not given them.
No.
You see, priority is an issue.
It all boils down to our legislators. Quite all right. The National Assembly they have their authority to approve, and they still have the authority to also interrogate before approval. Our constitution, I didn't think it envisioned the one that we have a rubber span National Assembly, because this one that are here. I don't think no proper investigation, no interrogation. The money was just approved ASAP.
The thing is, I said it the other day, as in until we get to a point where I think it was on this platform that we said, until we get to a point where if you get to the National Assembly, for instance, if the president is from APC, we have maybe even the APC members in the National Assembly in the minority. Until we get to that point, this country will not move. As long as the APC is in the presidency and majority of the National Assembly are APC members who are loyal to him, my dear.
I think the last legislative leader that we had so far that did something very significant, for me, my own opinion, everybody's got their own opinion, is Senator Bukola
Saraki. Yes, I agree with you.
Because
he was, in fact, somebody, a caller yesterday mentioned it too, that he was the only Senate president that kept turning down loan requests from Buhari, and that was why they voted him out the second time.
Is that supposed to be
so? That's in Nigeria for you.
And we are talking about how our GDP is dropping, how we
are becoming the poverty headquarters of the whole world.
There's poverty, people are angry, people are hungry, and you're still talking about further loan. Well, I pray God. Let me not use the word God right now. Let me not use that
like
word.
rounding up, because I mean we don't have so much time again. Rounding up, we don't need any more loans. Really. If we can look inward, there's so much that we can generate for ourselves. We've talked about the government looking beyond oil. We've talked about investing in agriculture. We've talked about exporting and making sure that people buy from us with our naira. There's so much that we've talked about that I feel like if the government pay attention to all this borrow, because we've not talked about 2025 budget, borrow day inside.
No, I will make my research, and there is a mineral resources in Nigeria. Somebody was discussing it in a cab I was yesterday, and he mentioned values, and I googled it, and I was like, wow. And we have it in deposit, and Nigerian government.
Was it not a caller that mentioned the kind of mineral resources that we have just in Nasarawa here?
Nigeria alone.
There's Zamfara.
Just in Nasarawa here, somebody was talking about it. So there's so much to do.
My own question now is, the internally generated
Revenue.
revenue rather, beg your pardon. What is it used for?
Let me.
What is it used for?
I want to ask another question. I'm assuming that the 1 trillion for the gender empowerment thing has not been approved yet.
No, they just proposed that.
They are proposing that is that a loan?
Because-
No. It's not government, so it's just it's a body that says
It's body that
want
is going to
fight
come.
Yeah, that's how we can fight it.
So we're expecting, or let's do quick math here. We're expecting that somehow, because it's gonna happen, sir. That kind of money is going to enter inside Nigeria, yeah, and then we're going to empower. And obviously, looking at from that kind of money entering Nigeria, and we hope that the people that they are going to throw this into would do great business within Nigeria, and the GDP is going to rise again as much more than what was anticipated again. So that means we are expecting GDP again to further hit past what we were expecting. Yet there is suffering, and we are in more debt, and we are making more.
Calm
Why
down.
am I raising up?
Slow down.
I
So
get-
that
I get your
the
passion.
conversations, that we
The thing
have
is,
concerning this country can just make you lose your
One
cool.
thing
But
about
we
this
understand.
country, no matter how you talk, no matter how you shout, the only thing is let's just keep praying and keep doing our best. I keep saying it. This country will not turn around by one man's effort.
Exactly.
It's going to take a collective
Mr.
effort.
Celestine, when you use the word, let's keep praying. We've been praying. But it's as if I always like using this paraphrase. It's more as if you are now, you give me a wife, you give me a job. And I come to meet you every morning. Please give me food to eat. If you be God, how you go feed?
Let's round up, please. As at yesterday, the management of Brighter Firm appreciated some persons, our very consistent callers, people who have been with us from the inception of Bright Republic up until now, and with credit tokens, Mr. Abdallah, Mr. Bright, Mr. John from Otaku, and then Robert. All right, so Mr. Robert and Mr. John have reached out to us to claim their credit tokens. Mr. Bright and Mr. Dalla, we've not heard from you yet, and we still have your credit token. It's just an appreciation from Brighter Firm management to say thank you for consistently being part of the show. Please reach out to us on WhatsApp at 0901 615 0614 to claim your credit token. And we've said that it's going to constantly, come because it's okay
And
to
even
just
the color of
appreciate
the
us.
year.
Yeah, thank you.
To have that.
Thank you so much. I just needed to, put it out there because two persons, Mr. Bright and Mr. Abdallah, have not reached out to us. Yes, please, let's take our last take. Mr. Charles Brown, let's start from you. Your last take before we round up.
My last take is just do the right thing. And when you do the right thing, you see good result. I don't want to start talking about the government from now, because if I talk
calm
from
down, no
now,
vex again.
it's not gonna end.
Thank you.
The right thing should be done at the right time. Thank
Mr.
you.
Sele, please.
Just like he said, do the right thing, and we should always remember Nigeria is our nation.
Yes, so
we go nowhere.
Yes,
If you like, travel to wherever you want to travel.
one day,
One day,
we'll
you
still
still come back to Nigeria. So
back.
let's start thinking of how to fix Nigeria,
Yeah,
and God will help us.
thank you. Mr. Charles, please.
Deliberation, conversations, conferences, seminars, sittings, house conversations without proper and adequate means of solving issues is a waste of time. Let us stop doing that and actually hit the ground running.
Thank you so much. And that brings us to the end of today's Bright Republic on Bright FM 98.7. A very big thank you to Mr. Charles Brown, Mr. Celestine Kirby, and Mr. Charles also here in the studio for their thoughts and perspectives this morning. To all our callers, Mr. Vincent from Kuja, our first caller for today, thank you so much. Mr. Bright, Mr. Robert, Mr. Abdallah, Mr. John from Otaku, Mr. Lukeman from Lubedi Network didn't let you, to go through with your call. And to all of our listeners at home, thank you so much for being part of the conversation. Your voice and opinions make this show what it is. Please do not touch your radio, because OB of Sports will be taking over next to give you all the latest on the world of sports. I'll catch you again.
like, does the radio stop when you do a car accident, or are you just sitting there like,
Hola,
support comedian? Yo, what up? This is Big Snoop Dogg.
Hi, this is the Pussycat Dolls.
Music, please.
Hey, this is Carrie Hilson, and you're listening to Rock 19.7. Hold on, we'll be right back.
Nobody. Did he turn it on? Did you turn it on?
Yes, I did.
That was so nice. I really don't know. Like,
Promotion package of free diagnostics and a 50%